Okay, good morning. So, up to the last lecture, we have covered the part of the unit number 1, that was the cement, and we have started in the last lecture some of the part related to sand. So, generally, the ingredients of concretes are cement, sand, and aggregate, as we have discussed. These are the three major ingredients of concrete. So actually, whatever we are now learning, that part we have covered or we have studied in the concrete technology. Uh, but if we go next, some prerequisites we have to see what prerequisites for the our next learning. So for that next learning, we have these prerequisites, that is the ingredients of concretes. In the concrete, cement, sand, aggregates we are using commonly. So after that, these three material, then next in unit number second, we are adding some additives for the replacement of cement, for the replacement of some aggregates. So that what are these additives? Also we are adding into this concrete, that admixtures, that also we are going to learn into the unit number 2. So unit number 1 is the basics that you have learned in the concrete technology, that we are uh, uh, learning here. So now cement is there. So sorry, cement is over. Now sand also we have started. So what is the bulking of sand? So that I think you have learned the. Okay, sorry for disturbs. So what is bulking of sand? So we will see the bulking of sand, and that to experiment also you have done in the concrete technology also in second year itself. So the bulking of sand, it means what? The increase in the volume of sand due to increase in moisture content. So the sand is there. In the sand, whatever sand we are using in the construction site, so that time what happened, the moisture, some of the percentage of moisture is available into the sand. So that percentage of moisture present in the sand is known as bulking of sand. Bulking of sand, why we are calling as a bulking? Why we are calling as a bulking? Am I audible properly? So bulking is nothing but due to the present in due to the moisture present in the sand, so the volume of sand is increases. The volume of sand is increases due to the moisture present in. म्हणजे moisture, it means what? Some of the uh, uh, silts are present, or some clay is present in the soil, sand, so that the volume of sand is increases. So the generally we can say a film of water is increased around the sand. Film of water is increased around the sand particles, which forces the particles to get side from each other, and thus volume is increased. So around the sand, if the any moistures are present, then the volume of sand will be the increases. So increase in moisture in the sand increases the volume of sand. Increase in moisture in the sand increases the volume of sand. So the volume of sand increases in the dry sand is known as bulking of sand. So bulking of sand is nothing but simply we can say the increase in volume of sand due to the moisture present in the sand. So that is nothing but the sand. So now again, the bulking of sand is depends on the quantity of moisture in the sand, and it also the size of the particle. So how much size of the sand is how much size of the sand particle is there and how much percentage of uh, particles or moistures are present into the sand. Then again, also 5 to 8% of the increase in moisture in the sand can be increased volume of up to the 20 to 40%. See, you can see here. So if the 5 to 8% of increase in moisture in the sand can be increase the volume of 20 to 40% of the whole sand. And again, finer the sand is, more will be the increase in the volume, and increase in volume is it will be the relatively less for the coarser sand. Then again, bulking of sand is depends on the moisture in the sand, but when moisture is increased by adding more water into the sand, then the particle of sand gets packed near to each other, and the film around this sand particles break, and the bulking of sand is again reduced. So the dry sand and the sand completely filled with the water will have to exact volume. So so to determine the percentage of bulking of sand is given by the one of the sample, you can see. So if you see this particular graph, in this particular, are you able to see this graph? Am I audible? No one is responding. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So so whether the this particular graph you can show, this graph is available in again our MSCT books also. The percentage of moisture added by the weight to dry roded fine aggregate, and this graph in x direction you can see this percentage of moisture, and in y direction you can see the percentage increase in volume over the dry roded fine aggregate. It means what? कोर्सर फाईननेस, कोर्सर ग्रेडिंग ऍग्रीगेट आहे आपण कसं कधी म्हणणार, तर ज्यावेळी मॉइश्चर प्रेझेंट तुमच्या सँड मध्ये अवेलेबल असतं, ते मॉइश्चर ज्यावेळी त्याच्यामध्ये आपण वॉटर ऍड करतो त्यावेळी त्याचा व्हॉल्यूम हा इन्क्रीज होतो. म्हणजेच ते पार्टिकल्स काय करतात, सँड पार्टिकलला कनेक्ट होतात आणि त्या टोटल व्हॉल्यूम सँडचा आहे त्याचा व्हॉल्यूम इन्क्रीज होतो. मग अशा केसमध्ये आपण sand कुठे यूज करतोय, so we are using sand into the concrete. If we add the sand into the concrete, what will happen? If moisture present is there, so the we are adding sand by weight. म्हणजे आपल्याला 400 किलो सँड लागणार आहे तर आपण 400 किलो वापरली, बट व्हॉट हॅपन, एका मीटर क्यूब मध्ये 400 किलो लागणार आहे म्हणून वापरली. बट व्हॉट विल हॅपन इफ वी ऍड दी वॉटर इनटू दी सँड, ड्यू टू द मॉइश्चर प्रेझेंट इट विल द व्हॉल्यूम विल बी इन्क्रीजेस. म्हणजे 1 मीटरच्या ऐवजी आपला व्हॉल्यूम जास्त होणार. आर यू गेटिंग? सो द बल्किंग ऑफ सँड, व्हाय वी हॅव टू मेजर how much percentage of moisture is present, and due to that percentage of moisture how much increase in the volume, that we should know, so that we will while we are going to mix design, that time we can take the care of that bulking of sand. Then the bulking of sand, some of the significance are there. So that significance are, if we can say the bulking of sand is a simply looseness of the soil without compacting. So the usually water reduces the pore into the sand and compact the sand. So the sand is used in the concrete for the reduction of segregation and fill out the pore between the cement and coarse aggregate. Why we are using the sand into the concrete? Because the coarser materials are 10 to 10 mm, 20 mm aggregates are there. So that 10 mm, 20 mm aggregates we have to bond with the cements. But while bonding of cements and that 10 mm, 20 mm aggregate, some of the voids or pore part will be there. So that pore part filled by the sand. So that for that we are adding the sand into the concrete. So for example, if we need 1 meter cube of sand in the concrete, then we need to know the approximate sand bulkage value. So bulkage value of sand, it means 1 meter cube. As I told you, in 1 meter cube, if we require the 400 kg sand, so how much percentage of moisture is present in that particular sand, that we should know. Why? Because if we add the water into that soil, sand or concrete, the volume will be increases. So that the bulkage value we should know. It means what? If the sample has a bulkage of 25%, then we need to take 25% more sand for 1.25 times of the sand while volume batching to get 1 meter cube of the concrete. म्हणजे आपल्याला 1 meter cube जास्त 25%, 1.25 times sand more required to get to mix the 1 meter cube of concrete. Then again, if you see here in this particular slide, again the extra amount of sand is required to considering for the bulkage value, and the total volume will be less to 75% adding the water, so that the quality of the concrete depends on the lots of proper proportioning into the to the contents. So generally we consider the volume of concrete 1.5 times the total dry volume, and in case of we typically using the approximately 30% of sand into the bulkage sand and 20% of 20% of wastage. So we do not consider the bulkage of sand when the total quantity will be lessened, and we the bulking of sand, that is the just a minute. Is that the following are the steps we have to follow to find or to determine the bulking of sand. So generally we can follow fill the measuring cylinder with the sample up to the 200 mm. So measuring cylinder is there. You have seen in the concrete technology lab, the measuring cylinder is there. In that measuring cylinder, we have to fill the measuring cylinder with sample of up to the 200 ml. Then accurate measurement of steel scale can be used, but no compaction of sand is allowed. It means we are not compacting sand. Generally, we are filling the sand only the depth of 200 mm. Then what we are doing in the third step, we are doing the sand is to be transferred to the container. So another container is there. We can transfer that sand to the another container. Then in the fourth step, the measuring cylinder is refilled with the 100 ml water. So initially we are adding the sand into the cylinder 200 ml. Then that 200 ml sand we are taking into the back for the in the one of the mold or in the one of the container. Then again we can fill the water into the that measuring cylinder. After that, in the step number 5, the measuring cylinder should be refilled with the sample sand and stirred with this steel rod. So what we are doing, measuring cylinder should be refilled. परत एकदा आपण काय करणार आहे, मेजरिंग सिलेंडर सॅन्ड रिफिल करणार आहे आणि काय करणार आहे तर स्टिरॉइडचा एक रॉड घेऊन त्या रॉडनं आपण काय करणार ते स्टिअरिंग करणार आहे. After that, in step number 6, what we are doing? So give some time so that the sand can be settled. स्टेरेड केल्यानंतर काय करणार आपण, सेटल होण्यासाठी तो जो तुमचा शॅम्पलचा जो सिलेंडर आहे, सॅन्ड पार्टिकल सेटल होण्यासाठी आपण काय करणार आहे, टाइम देणार आहे. आफ्टर दॅट, इन स्टेप नंबर 7, the level of sand will be below the 200 ml marks this time. So let present level A, so that the bulking of sand sample will be determined by following equation. So you can see the equation. So the bulking of sand is equal to 200 minus A divided by A into 100. So this A measured, the level of sand will be below. म्हणजे 200 mm ची जी लेवल होती त्या लेवल पेक्षा तुमच्या सॅन्डची लेवल डाऊन झालेली असणार आहे. दॅट वी हॅव टू मेजर ऍज अ A, and that level measured A we have to put into this formula. Bulking of sand, 200 minus 200 is a 200 ml sand volume. Then A is the less height of the whatever after the adding of water, that A is height. And if we do this calculation, in the step number 9, we can say the procedure should be repeated twice to average the value of tree observation will be percentage of bulking of sand. And in this way, we can find the bulking of sand, and that bulking of sand we can use after the mixed design or while calculating the while concreting the concrete. So this is related to bulking of sand. So sand part is over. So we will continue with the next aggregate part. So we have covered cement and sand part. So we will continue aggregate, but I think just minute.